When's the next ROE class? Good question. I don't know. I mean, I've done a whole bunch of them. I think you could go back and purchase some of the old ones and get what you need out of them. When's the next ROE class? So that could be the solution. Let's just do that because I don't know if I'm going to do another one. I mean, if it's on demand, I'll do another one. It's totally fine. I don't mind. But there's a whole bunch already, so all right, yeah, I appreciate it. I don't think I have it linked actually. You'd have to go to the trust community link in my profile, and then you would find the classes in there. So, by the way, as my understanding goes, the if you were in the trust community, you have access to the entire ROE tutorial. So, from that tutorial, you would be able to do the whole thing. All right. Now we got people coming in. All right. So I just like to be able to ask questions. Oh, yeah, that's exactly why I said, well, I'll do another one if there's enough demand for it, because I like the Q&A section would be really, really, really important. And I'm sure people got questions and stuff like that. But during some portions of it, it's better to not ask questions, right? It's better to just let it go through because what we've found over time is that most of the questions that pop up in your head get answered as I'm just going through the information. So it's better to just like watch it and then find out if there's any lingering questions afterwards. So there's a guy on TikTok who's been bugging me about showing proof that I don't pay taxes. And I said, well, it's kind of hard because it's hard to prove that you don't do something, right? So I sent him the only thing I could, right? Like, I'm not really that interested in proving it because I know for myself, and that's all that really matters. But, and then there's countless, I can't even tell you, it's a few thousand people, all right, who aren't paying taxes anymore because of the process that I've been laying out. All right. So I just don't understand, like, I could get people to go, yes, it's true. I don't pay either anymore. Da, 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 da. Like I could probably get like at least 2,000 names of people who are exited the tax system due to all this stuff. So it doesn't make any sense. I mean, I get it. Like he's scared. That's what it is. He's afraid and he doesn't want to get in trouble. And I understand that, right? But the thing is that it's hard to prove a negative, right? Yeah, most people are afraid. I'm not knocking the guy for being scared, right? Trust me. Most people have been so indoctrinated and have it ingrained into them that they have to pay taxes, that when you show them that they don't have to, they start getting scared. Well, people went to jail for that. No, no, no. No one's gone to jail for not paying taxes. People have gone to jail for tax evasion, right? Never for tax avoidance. And they've gone to jail for penalty of perjury by lying on forms. That's what people go to jail for. They do not go to jail for tax avoidance, which is what we're doing anyway. Tax avoidance. It's not tax evasion. Tax evasion is illegal. Don't do that. Okay. By the way, if you guys are watching here on TikTok, just so you know, I'm streaming live on YouTube. So if you want to watch what we're pulling up during this meeting, you can go onto my YouTube channel and go also watch it on there as well. All right. So you're welcome to go onto YouTube and watch the stream over there and see what's going on. But because I won't be able to share my screen on TikTok, but I can share it on YouTube. We're already live. All right. So your Zoom is being a pain. Okay. That's on your end, I think. But or it could be me. I wasn't letting people in. What's the difference? The difference is that if you're on YouTube, you can see all the stuff I pull up. But if you're on TikTok, you're just gonna see me talking and just reading whatever we're pulling up. I'm still gonna answer questions though. Like if you're on TikTok, I'm not gonna ignore you. But yeah, what else we got? No evasion. Oh, evasion and avoid. Okay, so evasion is when you hide money, so that way it's not so that way you don't pay taxes on it. Avoidance is when you legally bring down your tax, um, uh, what do you call it? Your taxable income, right? If you bring down your taxable income, then that's called tax avoidance. When you hide money so that you don't have to pay taxes on it, that's evasion. But what we do, and the way I do things, right? What I do is I just go and I write to the IRS and just let them know that I'm not a federal employee, that I am not that I'm not a U.S. citizen, right? And I do not reside in the District of Columbia. I reside in one of the 50 states of the Union, and basically from that, they agree with me. They say, well, okay, and then but they do it in a very awkward way. They just go, we got your letter, we got your correspondence. They call it correspondence. We got your correspondence, and there's no further action need to be taken from you. Our office will contact you and let you know what to do next, and then you never hear from them again. That's really what they say most of the time. I've shown those. I showed the letters on video before, so they're in Rumble on one of the lives where I showed it to people during a live. Was I a W-2 worker when I stopped? I was what, 19, 18, 19? I think I was like 19 when I stopped doing it. So it's been a long time. And at the time, where did I work when I was 19? I think I worked, I think I worked at A&P, like a supermarket, but I was also in a band getting paid through the shows we were playing. But those were mostly cash. We were making cash off of that. I don't know. So I don't know if that helps. But good morning. But yeah, that's essentially how that works. Um, as a W-2 employee, what I did was I filled out, I used to fill out a W-4 and just write non-resident alien on it. And then they wouldn't take taxes out. But then I started using a W-8BEN and then I didn't have any issues. And, it is what it is. Any result for the remedies or discharge, etc. Don't do the etc. stuff. Ask direct questions because when you do that, it's kind of like remedies or discharge. Like what are you looking for? You're looking for a remedy for something. It's got to be specific, not like a generalization. Like why not the federal employee? So that's a good question. Okay, so the W-4 is called employees withholding certificate. In fact, let's do that real quick. I'll pull that up. W-4 form. Okay, so we're going to pull that up on here. All right, so now we're going to go to that W-4 form. So this W-4 is called a withholding certificate, employees withholding certificate. Now, they get their authority to withhold. Employees withholding certificates comes from Title 26, which we're going to go to right now. If we look at Title 26, Internal Revenue, we're going to go down to employment taxes, which is in the 3,000s. Okay. And it says, if we click on 3102, deduction of tax from wages. So this is 26 U.S. Code 3102, deduction of tax from wages. It says the tax imposed by Section 3101 shall be collected by the employer of the taxpayer. Okay, by deducting the amount of the tax from the wages as and when paid. An employer who in any calendar year pays to an employee cash reimbursement to which paragraph 7B of the section 3121 is applicable may deduct an amount equivalent to such tax from any such payment of remuneration, even though at the time of the payment, the total amount. Okay, so it's saying that there's a requirement for them to take out the funds, right? If you're an employee and they're an employer. So that's where this is where it's coming from. This is the authority, okay, is 3102, right? If we look here, right, we're going to look at 3101. Oh, no, it's not this one. Sorry. But we're going to keep going back here. We're going to go. Actually, let's just click on the definition of employee. All right. Oh, look at this. They cut it off there. Isn't that funny? What are they hiding? What you hiding there, bud? So we're going to go to it. Employee. And this is under Shoot, I lost it now. Why did I do that? I shouldn't have done that. All right. Calling the rules and is in paragraph. Okay. But I'm going to show you something here. It's here. What we got? It was, it's this. That's it. Sorry, that was the wrong section. All right, it's 3402, not 31. So I showed you guys the wrong section, right? Every employer making payment of wages shall deduct and withhold upon such wages a tax determined in accordance with tables, computable procedures prescribed by the secretary. Sorry, this is actually the correct one because the IRS even confirmed with me that this was the correct section that went along with the W-4. It was 3402, not 31. Okay, so requirement of withholding, right? Amount of wages, right? Amount of wages. Okay, and let's look at here. It says employees withholding certificate. Okay, income, wages. Okay. Now, this is where it gets interesting because this is income tax sourced at collected at source. Now, if we look at the definitions, wages, right? And then we go down to here, we're going to look at employee. So on the W-4 form, when they say employee, this is what they mean. For the purposes of this chapter, the term employee includes an officer, employee, or elected official of the United States, a state, or any political subdivision thereof, or the District of Columbia, or any agency or instrumentality of any one or the more of the foregoing. The term employee also includes an officer of a corporation. So what they're saying here is that if you work for any state, local, or federal government agency, you are an employee. If you're like the CEO of a corporation or the CFO of a corporation, you are an employee. Outside of that, no one else is an employee per this definition, and this W-4 does not apply to you. Okay, this W-4 does not apply. It only applies to this definition of employee. Okay, an employer obviously would be like those government agencies, state or federal. I'm going to court next week. How should I present myself to the court when they call my name? I mean, you could just say I'm here on behalf of the estate and just say it over and over again until they get rid of you. I'm here on behalf of the estate. I'm here on behalf of that estate. I mean, it depends. If you hurt somebody, that ain't gonna work because it's common law crime. You gotta, you gotta pay the price for that. But if it's what's the case on? It's different. Foreclosure. Okay, well, that's not going to work on a foreclosure. You see, this is the silly thing. See, people ask these questions, and then, it's like I gave a basic answer, which was totally incorrect for that situation. How do you present yourself? Well, see, now you're getting into nitty-gritty stuff. And go exempt, not a taxpayer. Okay. Well, it doesn't say anything about that. An officer, employee, or elected official of the United States. Okay. That's what it says. So, let's see. But yeah, it's different. Anyway, the foreclosure thing, if you're going in next week, you got a problem, man, because asking for help right now is not enough time. Okay. There's too much stuff going on in that. You need to do a motion for discovery, and you need to ask them a lot of information about securitization and pooling and stuff like that. You're going in as yourself. This is a civil suit, so you can't go in there and be like, and say stupid things like "I'm a man on the land" and stuff like that. You don't, they ain't gonna fly. They're gonna laugh at you and they'll be like, "Fucking idiot." Because you can't go into a courtroom and tell them that you're a man on the land. They don't care about that, right? This is a foreclosure. You have to go in there and prove that they've already made. Well, one, you got to find out, are they the right person to be paying? Like, really, that should be your question when you go into a foreclosure suit. Is like, hey, are you actually the proper entity that I'm supposed to be paying? If you were to say that, okay, and then they have to prove that, right? That's all foreclosure is really about, is proving who is the right person to be paying, right? Yeah, well, okay, so I'm not going to say that's the best way, but that's a starting point to it, is the qualified written request. But he's already in court under foreclosure proceedings, so he's got a whole world of a mess in front of him, okay, because of that. But yeah, the qualified written request you should be doing before you go into foreclosure. All right, that's the issue. Yeah, well, the problem is he's already in foreclosure, so he's got to show. I would ask them to prove that they've been harmed. Okay, that's one thing. Like, show me where the harm is, because this is basically like a private contract enforcement court, right? Is what the foreclosure stuff is. But he's got to say, I don't see why I'm paying. I mean, if it's the original lender, they might got something on you, okay? But then they got to prove that they actually loaned you money and that they didn't fabricate it out of a promissory note and then put that into the system, into their, like, they could take a promissory note and they could deposit it into an account. Here, I'll pull it up. I'll show you. It's in Title 12. If you look at Title 12 under the definition of deposit, this is exactly what they're doing. This is it. All right. This is everything that has to do with loans. Okay. This is what they're doing. All right. It's under 1813, 12 U.S. Code 1813. And then we're going to go to the definition of deposit. Okay. Which is way down there. Hold on. Let's just deposit. Oh, okay, that's not so bad. Deposit. Nope, we missed it somehow. Let's do promissory note. Okay, here. All right, deposit. I don't know why it skipped. Why that's so weird. Why did it skip that? All right, but the definition of deposit, okay? It's the unpaid balance of money or its equivalent, received or held by a bank or a savings association in the usual course of business. Oh, now it may not be usual course of business for you, but for a bank, it is, right? So, usual course of business for a bank, right? The unpaid balance of money or its equivalent received or held by a bank or savings association in the usual course of business, and for which it has given or is obligated to give credit, either conditionally or unconditionally, to a commercial checking, saving, time, or thrift account. Okay, so they give you a list of accounts, or which is evidenced by its certificate of deposit, thrift certificate, investment certificate, certificate of indebtedness, or other similar name, or a check or draft drawn against a deposit account and certified by the bank or savings association, or a letter of credit or a traveler's check on which the bank or savings association is primarily liable. Okay, provided that, without limiting the generality of the term money or of its equivalent, any such account or instrument must be regarded as evidencing the receipt of the equivalent of money when credited or issued in exchange for checks or drafts, or for a promissory note upon which the person obtaining any such credit or instrument is primarily or secondarily liable, or for a charge against a deposit account or in settlements of checks, drafts, or other instruments forwarded to such bank or savings association for collection. So if it's the original lender, right, you have to show them, prove to them, when you gave them that promissory note, did they deposit that into an account and create like money with that account, and then pay the lender or the seller, the house seller, with that? Did they do it that way, or did they actually loan you money out of their own stock, right? Because if they loaned you money out of their own stock, you're probably gonna have to pay them back, but they could get in trouble for that because it's against the law for them to do that. That's illegal. They're not allowed to make loans out of their own stock, okay? And I've had people laugh at me about that, and I don't know why. I mean, pretty damn clear. They tell you flat out you can't do that. It says right here, it says loans by bank on its own stock. No national bank shall make any loan or discount the security of the shares of its own capital stock. So, did they actually loan you money? Or did they take a promissory note, deposit it into an account, and create wealth with that, which they were able to use to offset the obligation that the owner was asking for of the house, right? So what did they do exactly? So that's one thing. That's one angle you want to go at. Another angle is the fact that if it's a servicer, say, well, are you the correct servicer to be paying? I don't know who I'm supposed to be paying anymore. I want to make sure I'm paying the right guy, right? Do you know what res judicata means? Okay. Okay. All right. Good. No, no, no. Sorry. Yeah, you sound like you do. So res judicata, people, means that something that's already been adjudicated. So if he's already had a prior case and it's been dismissed, uh, yeah, the res judicata would come into play in this situation unless they, if it was dismissed with prejudice, that means that they reserve the, or well, if it's dismissed without prejudice, excuse me, that means that they can bring it up again. So if the case was dismissed with prejudice, actually they shouldn't be bringing it up again. But if it was dismissed without prejudice, that means they're reserving the right to bring the charges on again. And that might be the situation that you're involved in. I don't know. Yeah, it was dismissed with prejudice. So they shouldn't even be bringing it up again. That should be a done deal, unless they're trying to do a different claim or if it's a different entity. If it's the same entity, they're wrong. Well, if you could prove broken chain of title, that's it. Then that means that they're not the ones you're supposed to be paying anyway. So how the hell can they even enforce any of this stuff? So you've already won that case. That's really simple now. You just go, there's no chain of title. They haven't proven chain of title, which means how do I know that they're the real owner? Who am I supposed to be paying? It's not these guys. There's broken chain of title here. It's like they just found it on the ground or something. Now they're saying, you owe me money. I don't owe you a damn thing. Anyway, yeah, res judicata. If since that's already happened with prejudice, I mean you can put that you should be submitting that paperwork into court and do a motion to dismiss as this has already been adjudicated by a court. You know, so your res judicata is a pretty strong point right there. But watch out for little tricks. They might play little tricks on you. And look at the reason why the judge ruled it. It may not have been what you're claiming. Read what the judge's order was on that and why the judge made the decision they made. Because if they're using a different angle than what the judge said, that's probably why they're bringing it back up. But these banks will do whatever they want. They're criminal. I would do a counterclaim against them too. Sue them for like three times of what they're suing you for, right? They're trying to get the house, sue them for three times the value of the house. Tell them that this is res judicata, and that this is something already been adjudicated. It's already been judged, and now this is just legal harassment, is what this is, and legal abuse, and they're using the court system to mess with you. Okay, so I would countersue them. You know, like it's, it's disgusting. These banks are they're so criminal, but the banks run everything. Everything is banking in our country, right? In the United States of America, the United States and all the states operate off of banking rules. Okay, they are banks. All right. Plaintiff's lawyer in the first case refused twice. Order of affirmation by Quince, hence dismissed. Oh, okay. Plaintiff's lawyer in first case refused twice. Ordered affirmation request by judge, hence dismissed. Okay, so um, they might submit that stuff in this time if they do that. I'm not going to talk about that on here because I think I'll get banned on TikTok. I'll talk about it on YouTube or something, but on TikTok, I think they'll shut me down. So I'm not going to bring that up. Sorry, Laura. Although we're spot on. Yeah, I gotta be careful about the birth certificate stuff and all the financial instruments. So crazy. All right. So anyway, but the foreclosure thing, it sounds like you got a pretty good grip on it. So don't worry about how you present yourself. You're presenting, you can present yourself however you want. It's because it's a foreclosure case. It's not really about you. I mean, you're a citizen of a state, no matter what, okay? But that's not going to play a role in any of this because it's all civil. So your standing as who you are really doesn't have much weight in a foreclosure case. Okay, your weight is going to be on Title 12, the Truth in Lending Act. Okay, those are your things. Um, the RESPA, right? The Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, which is very good. But you know the chain of title thing, you already have that documented. So I don't know why they would even try again. It's stupid. You know, they're just messing with you. What they're trying to do is stress you out so you just give up, right? Is what they're trying to do. So don't even stress it. All right. Everything's commerce, yeah. Oh Laura, no, that's not a joke. That's for real. That's real stuff. No, that's legitimate. I looked into that like many, many years ago. I got really into that family and did a big, deep research on that family. And I mean, I don't want to get specific, but anytime there's been a war, that stuff has been going on. Those people have been behind the scenes. So I'm not going to get into too much because TikTok will ban me. I don't like that. They took my account away last time I talked about some of those unsavory things or people or stuff. They suck. TikTok, where's your spirit of heart of speech and the sharing of opinions, ideas, and historical facts? Why do we have to hide historical facts from the people? Because that's why you deleted my last account. Was I talked about a historical fact and then you deleted my account. TikTok, you make it an unsafe place to speak freely. And people talk about safe spaces, safe spaces. Well, TikTok is not a safe space for people who want to talk and share ideas and share information because they cut you down. So, anyway, now I got people messaging me on Telegram and stuff like, "I'm watching you." Good. Like, what the? Anyway, so crazy. What? Okay. Okay. All right. So at least he knows that he's talking to the real me on Telegram. To give him that. All right. It's not the scammer. Let's see. Must learn everything about contracts, responsibilities, and contracts. Um, but yeah, oh yeah, you know what? Here's what I'm gonna do because what I'll tell you what he's asking. He wants to do. Someone is trying to ask about doing one-on-ones, and that's fine. I have a link for that somewhere. Let me find it. Yeah, they created wealth. Let me shut this off. All right, I'll find it and I'll share it with everybody. I'll drop it in YouTube, which I forgot. I don't know where that is now. Let's get rid of that. All right, so what else is going on today? We got people here on the Zoom call. Anyone want to share anything on the Zoom call? Questions, stuff like that? Comments? You want to argue with me? That's cool too.
No, I don't want to argue with you. I just want to your calendary off a link tree. All they have to do is find you on TikTok and look at your link tree, and that's how to contact you.
Yeah, I got the link just now. I'm gonna drop it in YouTube. I'm gonna I'm gonna send it over here in Telegram to somebody. Nope, that was the wrong one. Well, anyway,
I ordered your book
my book. Oh, there we
off of
go.
Amazon.
And then boom. Oh, okay, there it is. Now I got the right one. I shared the Zoom link by accident, but that's all right. All right, so there it is, the Calendly link. How do I get into Zoom calls? Actually, I just shared it inside. I'm gonna delete it, but I if you're part of the trust community, you can get on the Zoom call. All right, if you're not part of the trust community, and the only reason I'm doing that is mainly because I was sharing the link in Telegram, and then the scammers would come on, and they were sharing all kinds of nasty images and stuff like that, trying to get me booted off of YouTube. And so it happened a couple times, loud, crazy sounds and nasty pictures, and I from now on it's going to be just within the trust community because there's only good people inside the trust community. We don't have any scammers in there. Guaranteed no scammers in the trust community. So if you reach out to me, if you're in the trust community, you reach out to me, it's always me you're talking to. In Telegram, it's it's risk. But our friend over here in Telegram I'm talking to right now, he knows he's got me because we're talking. All right. Anyway, and I shared the Zoom link with him by accident, but that's all right. He can join in if he wants as well. All right. Thanks, Joey's top notch. Beat the criminals. Thank you. Yeah, let's beat those criminals, man. Let's do it. But that's the Calendly link. So you guys, yes, um, but yeah. So two things. One, I do one-on-ones with people, and I've helped people with various situations and stuff like that. Just offering suggestions or stuff like that. And then there is a trust community. Anyone from the trust community want to say hello?
Hello.
Greetings, everyone. You ought to join the trust community. It's awesome. So much more you can learn here.
Can TikTok hear that all right? Can you guys hear them? Thank you, Livy. Oh, yeah, you know what, Livy? I'm going to send you the link too. Might as well. You could join us. I'll find this in here. I promised you I would send it to you, so I'll send you the link if you're not in the trust community. If I know you, okay, cool. But if I don't know you, I'm not gonna. Sorry, no offense. I'm not gonna send it. Um, 'Cause you never know. Okay, if you would like to join the trust community, you can go to my profile and you'll find it. It's one of there's a Linktree link, and in the Linktree you will find that you'll find it. It says join the trust community. Let's see if I can Linktree. It's linktr.ee/Joe Lustica. That's the Linktree link. I also have music on there, so if you like listening to music, I am a musician, which I think people forget. But I'm a musician, so you can go, which I think is funny because I have like all these guitars all around. There's some on the floor you can't even see because they're behind me, but I got like tons of guitars here. Let's see. But yeah, so you can go listen, put the music on or something, you know. And then what else do I have here? Oh yeah, there's the tax forms comprehension. And there was a right to travel uh, class I was selling on there. I took it down because the one of those like wackadoodle guys on TikTok was going off on how I was selling it for money. I was making money off of it. I was like, actually, I haven't really sold that class much. I wasn't really. I've only sold like maybe 3 or 4 of those or something. I was like, I don't really care that much, so I just deleted it on a TikTok, and I said, "What do you think of that now?" And you still have the right to travel. How do you like that? And he didn't have a response to that, which is not surprising because when you take away their argument angle, they got nothing left, right? Well, you're only saying that because you're making money. No, I'm saying it because it's fucking true. You have a right to travel. Okay, your right to travel is, and you know what? Let's go through it right now. Who wants to go through that? Let's go through. Nobody? Nobody wants to go through it. Okay, fine.
I want to go through it. I
Oh,
want to
okay. Okay, let's do this right to travel stuff, okay? Because this right to travel is it's important. It's an important part of our it's important. It just is. Now, one of the things about why I feel like the right to travel is so important, and one of these things that we need to take care of is because this whole thing with the cars and stuff is so I mean it's they use the cars to violate your Fourth Amendment rights. Okay, plain and simple.
criminal.
Your
It's
Fourth Amendment.
criminal. It's
Your
criminal.
Well, that's a violation of your rights is criminal. Yeah, exactly.
Well, you might not be able to say it, but I can say it.
It's criminal. I can say whatever I want. I'm a free man. I'm just saying, like, it is criminal. Any violation of your right is criminal. And and here's the problem. Here's the other thing. They use like the Terry v. Ohio case and treat it as if it's law. It's not law. It's a court case, right? And what they did was they fabricated a reason why your Fourth Amendment right doesn't apply. Oh, you're in a car? Jason, if you hop over to my YouTube channel, you're gonna see all this stuff that I have about it. I got a lot of stuff on that. Okay, a lot. So you have a CDL, so you need one because you're doing it. Uh, oh yeah, good. Pennsylvania versus Mims. You know what? Let's look at that Terry v. Ohio case real quick. Terry v. Ohio. I'm gonna show you all the problems with this case. This case is very problematic. Okay, and um, I still have the coupon videos. It's still up. It's payment voucher. Payment voucher. That's what it's called on Rumble. All right. So here's the primary holding under the Fourth Amendment of the U.S. Constitution. A police officer may stop a suspect on the street and frisk him or her without probable cause to arrest if the police officer has a reasonable suspicion that the person has committed, is committing, or is about to commit a crime and has a reasonable belief that the person may be armed and presently dangerous. So this is the issue here, okay? This thing has been stretched out beyond any capacity for it to remain, okay? They've stretched this thing out like like the way kids stretch out their freaking pajama pants, right? But I mean, this thing is just, it's so like a cop will stop somebody, right? And they'll tell them to get out of the car and pat them down. And so what happened? Well, you didn't use your blinker. And you go, well, that's not really a crime. You go, oh, it is. That's a crime. Everything that's involving motor vehicles is considered crimes. So under this, they got reasonable suspicion that you've committed a crime because they saw you going 70 and a 65. They saw you change lanes without using a blinker, right? Everything, all this stuff with the like this didn't happen in a car, okay? But this incident. But the fact is that this is what they're using on all of these things, right? This is why people ask, what is this a Terry stop, right? Which means that they have to have reasonable suspicion that you're about to commit, right? Or had committed a crime. A reasonable belief that you're armed and dangerous. Okay. So see, like a Cleveland detective on a downtown beat, which had been patrolling for many years, observed two strangers on a street corner. He saw them proceed alternatively back and forth on an identical route, pausing to stare at the same store window, which they did for a total about 24 times. Each completion of the route was followed by a conference between the two on a corner, at one of which they were joined by a man who left swiftly. Suspecting the two men of casing a job a stick-up, the officer followed them and rejoined the third man a couple of blocks away in front of a store. The officer approached the three, identified himself as a policeman, and asked their names. The men mumbled something, whereupon McFadden spun petitioner around, patted down his outside clothing, and found in his overcoat pocket, but was unable to remove a pistol. So he found a gun on him, right? The officer ordered the three into the store. He removed the petitioner's overcoat, took out a revolver, ordered the three to face the wall with their hands raised. He patted the outer clothing of Chitlin and Katz and seized a revolver from Chitlin's outside overcoat pocket. He did not put his hands under the outer garments of Katz since he discovered nothing in his pat-down, which may have been a weapon, or under petitioner's or Chitlin's outer garments until he felt the guns. The three were taken to the police station. Petitioner and Chittin were charged with carrying concealed weapons. So that's the first problem right there. Carrying concealed weapons is not a crime. That's an invented crime by the state. It does not exist. A concealed weapon is totally 100% lawful. All right. The Second Amendment guarantees that right. All right. And all rights are unencumbered. The state does not have the authority to encumber a right. They cannot do it. They cannot put a restriction on a right in any way, shape, or form, even if it's non-monetary. We'll give you free permits, no charge on your permit, but you have to get one. No. Right? Like people go, well, you can't pay for it. I don't give a shit. Tell them it's free. It's still encumbered, right? Having to go get a permit to exercise your right is invalid and false. Okay. Armaments. Okay. I mean, we can go into the word debate, which has some strength, but the ain't gonna fly with the courts. There's like, that's a firearm. It looks like a firearm to me. What are you gonna do when the judge turns around and says that to you? Well, that looks like a firearm to me. Then you'll be like, oh shit. Well, it's not. Well, it looks like it to me. The judge is the one that's going to make the decision. And if he says it looks like a firearm, doesn't matter what you call the damn thing, right? I went into the court. I said to the judge, I said, I wasn't driving a motor vehicle. I was driving an automobile. And he looks at the picture of the car and he goes, looks like a motor vehicle to me. I said, well, it's not. And he goes, well, I'm not seeing that. I see a motor vehicle. Guilty, right? Yeah, I know you can say that too, and you can go down that path, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But once the judge starts saying shit like that looks like this to me, you're gonna lose. So you got to start getting a little smarter and really use your head more, because that's what they'll do to you when you start trying to play the word game. Okay? So you got to know, like, that only comes with experience. When you've been to court enough times, from experience that this is what they're going to do. Okay. Well, it looks like that to me. That looks like a firearm to me. All right. So, anyway, the point is this, though, right? So that's the first thing. Carrying weapons. Now, this happened to me a number of years ago. I was waiting for my girlfriend to get off work, and I'm standing outside, and what was behind me was a bank. Okay. And the women saw me standing there. It was cold out, so I had my hoodie on, and I got my hood up, and they called the cops. The cops came over and searching me and stuff. They're like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I'm waiting for my girlfriend to get off of work. And they're like, well, you can't do that. And I'm like, I can't wait for my girlfriend. They were so crazy about it. And it was this case because they thought I was casing the bank, right? Although I was just standing there, right? I was standing there. This is like pre-cell phone days. Well, no, there was cell phones around. I think I had a cell phone. It was like a flip phone, a long time ago. So, but this is what they were doing. They're like, oh, they called the cops. The cops came. They started searching me. They found nothing on me, not even a wallet. They're like, you don't even have a wallet on you? I'm like, no, no, I got nothing. I'm like literally just waiting for my girlfriend. My girlfriend came out, then they ID'd her. They're like, oh, we need your ID. And she goes, yes, sir. Yeah. She just go, I'm like, what are you doing? Don't give me anything. We didn't do anything wrong. They're like, well, we suspect you trying to rob the bank. And bang, that's the Terry stop. They were suspecting that I was trying to stop. This is BS, though. Okay? The Fourth Amendment doesn't give the police officer the authority to stop somebody because they feel they might be committing a crime or going to. You have to see it. You have to have a victim. You have to, this is not pre-crime, right? Like in Minority Report, right? Pre-crime. Oh, our police officers are psychic and they can predict the future. And hey, look, if you think that this guy, you can watch these guys, take notes of these guys, right? They can go up to him and ask him, hey, you got a name? What's your name? They can do that. They're not obligated to answer, but to stop them and to start searching them, and now they're charged with a concealed weapon. The defense moved to suppress the weapons. Throughout the trial, court rejected the prosecution theory that the guns had been seized during a search incident to a lawful arrest. The court denied the motion to suppress and admitted the weapons into evidence on the grounds that the officer had cause to believe the petitioner and Chilton, how do you say that? Chilton, were acting suspiciously, and that their interrogation was warranted, and that the officer for his own prosecution had the right to pat down their outer clothing, having reasonable cause to believe that they might be armed. Okay, the court distinguished between an investigatory stop and an arrest, and between a frisk of the outer clothing for weapon and a full-blown search for evidence of a crime. Right, so they were found guilty, an intermediate appeal court affirmed, and the state Supreme Court dismissed the appeal on the grounds that no substantial constitutional question was involved. So this is a case that is trash. This is one of the cases that is destroying our country. They're using this in all these motor vehicle stops. They're using these and like that stop that happened. I mean, I was standing in front of a bank at like 6 o'clock at night, and it was fall, so it's getting dark out at that time. Yeah. But yeah, it's just crazy, and this court case has created a lot of problems. This has reduced the freedom of all men and women in our country, because now the cops can utilize this court case, even though it's not law, It's not law, right? And it was, and really this ruling, if you think about it, all rulings are pertinent to that situation. Okay, all rulings are supposed to be pertinent to that situation, but they've taken this one case and said, well, now it applies to everything. We're going to use it for everything. We're going to use it for everything, right? And it's not law. It's just the court ruling on something, right? They're ruling on this particular case, and they look at it like, well, in this situation, it looked like the guys were trying to rob the place. So yeah, it was a good thing he searched them. But did a crime ever occur? Was an actual crime ever in occurrence on this? We'll never know because the cops stopped the guy and arrested them. Even he arrested all three of them, even though I think one had a gun or two of them had a gun. But this is this. So what? This is America. Having a gun is not illegal. There's nothing illegal about having a gun. Having 10 guns, 50 guns, right? You got a tank. Someone said you can't buy tanks. I said you can buy tanks. You can definitely buy tanks. Maybe we'll go look it up right now online. See who wants to buy a tank, right? Oh, it's funny. I saw that. I think it was on TikTok or Facebook somewhere. I saw it. Someone was like, "Well, you can't buy tanks." So there's that. And I'm like, you can absolutely buy tanks. Absolutely, and you can buy a tank. All right. There's there's a reason why this is the best country in the world. All right. And buying tanks is not one of them, but it's definitely on the list. It's on the list. All right. The Fourth Amendment right against unreasonable searches and seizures made applicable to the states by the 14th Amendment protects people, not places, and therefore applies as much to the citizen on the streets as well as at home or elsewhere. Well, that's an interesting turn on that because they're not protecting the people by searching them randomly. All right. Now, but this also oh yeah, helicopter. But this also lays into this idea of that when someone is stopped by a cop, right? You have to ask what's your reasonable suspicion. And they have to tell you if they cannot cite a crime that they suspect that you are going to commit, all right, or have committed, or in the middle of committing, right, then they have to leave you alone. RAS, reasonable articulable suspicion. It's RAS. You just say what's your RAS, right? Um, I said that to a cop once. He's like, "Are you badge?" I go, "No." He's like, "Were you?" I'm like, "No." He's like, he thought about it for a second. He goes, uh, don't worry about it. I don't even know who it was. He stopped me. He grabbed me. I go, "What's up?" He goes, you smell funny." I'm like, "What?" I was like, "What's your RAS?" He goes, you badge? That's what he said. "Are you badge?" And I said, "No." And he goes, "Were you?" I'm like, "No." And he thought about it for a second. He goes, "No, never mind. Sorry. Have a good day." That's what he said. I think he suspected me of a smell and said, "Well, I don't know if I stink. Maybe I'll go take a shower. I don't know. I don't know. You know." All right. I was like 22 or 23 at the time, something like that. All right. The issue in this case, I was about to walk into a 7-Eleven when he did that. The issue in this case is not the abstract propriety of the police conduct, but the admissibility against petitioner of the evidence uncovered by the search and seizure. So that's a good point here too, because what they're saying is, yeah, Apache helicopter, yeah, or a Chinook helicopter, a Chinook, all right, a Chinook or Apache. I don't care. Either one, any kind of helicopter, I'll be happy with. I want a helicopter. All right. I've been saying that for like 20 years. I want a helicopter. My wife's like, "I know you want a helicopter," because sometimes she'll be like, "Oh, what do you want for your birthday?" I'm like, I'll smile. She goes, "I know. I can't buy you a helicopter. They're expensive." They are. They're a lot of money. But a Chinook would be good. Apache helicopter. Preferably one that's still armed. Not the I don't want one of those like de-armed ones, you know. All right, anyway, the issue in this case is not the abstract propriety of the police conduct, but the admissibility against petitioner of the evidence uncovered. So what he's basically trying to do is saying that this was an unwarranted search and that the cops actually did not have the authority to search him and pat him down like that and find the weapons, making that the weapons and the use of the weapons evidence inadmissible, meaning that they'd have to throw the charges out, right? But they didn't agree with that. They said, no, 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 we agree. We agree that it was okay for them to search you and that we can utilize this in court. So what it sounds like they're doing is they're bending the Fourth Amendment. I tell you, what do you think the founding fathers would think of something like this? These guys would be appalled if they heard this, right? And this is one thing that I think a lot of these judges, prosecutors, these cops, they do not care about the framers of the Constitution seeing this as what is now going on in our country and seeing this and going, well, you know what? No, this is unacceptable, right? I don't think they'd be happy with this at all. They'd be like, no, the Fourth Amendment is clear. It's very clear. You can't stop and search someone randomly. All right. That's what the British were doing. And they were arresting people for all kinds of stupid crap. Okay. They're throwing people in jail for all kinds of things, for speech, for protesting, for uncovering unsavory people's nasty stuff. They still do that to this day. And people are told, it's like over their heads that, all this stuff is going on. Good morning. Good morning. I see you on YouTube there. Good morning. But, all right. So that was it. It says, but, see that whole little argument right there? That argument it's a good argument, but they lost it. All right. It's sad. The exclusionary rule cannot properly be invoked to exclude the products of legitimate and restrained police investigation techniques, and this court's approval of such techniques should not discourage remedies other than the exclusionary rule to curtail police abuses for which it is not an effective sanction. So even in this court case, they tell you this isn't a rule. It shouldn't be using this all the time. This is an exclusionary rule because of the circumstances that were at hand, right? It seemed odd that these guys, they looked like they were actually casing the scene. So they were looking like they were plotting a job, okay? So that's their thing. And they're saying that this is an exclusionary rule. And that's the point of this Terry v. Ohio case that people are losing on, is the fact that this is exclusive. This is what I was saying before. People are treating this as this is just everything now. We can do this on everything. And it says it in the case itself. You can't do that. You can't use this rule, like this exclusionary rule, generally. It's not supposed to be general. But this is what they're doing. They've taken this thing and they're abusing the living shit out of it. Okay. The Fourth Amendment applies to stop and frisk procedures such as those followed here. Okay. Whenever a police officer accosts an individual and restrains his freedom to walk away, he has seized that person within the means of the Fourth Amendment. So that's where you see the First Amendment auditors, they're teaching you this stuff. Those First Amendment auditors, I know a lot of people hate them. They are teaching you how to utilize this case the right way. Am I detained? No. Then I'm free to go. No, you're not free to go. Well, that don't make any damn sense. Have you seized me? Yes. Okay. Well, that is a restraint of my freedom to walk away, isn't it? Well, we're investigating a crime. What crime are you we're doing an investigation. Oh, you're investigating. Okay, what crime are you investigating? Well, that's what we're trying to find out. Well, I'm not a detective. I'm not a witness. Okay. Nor am I a suspect. Am I a suspect? Well, we don't know that yet. Well, I'm going to fucking walk away. You can't walk away. I have the freedom to walk away. Terry v. Ohio says I have the freedom to walk away. Well, Terry v. Ohio says we could stop you and frisk you. Now, actually, Terry v. Ohio talks about how that was an exclusionary rule to stop and frisk. You have to say the crime that you think I'm committing or have committed or am going to commit. Otherwise, I can walk the fuck away from you. All right? With my hands out, walk away. Because, you know, if you put your hands in your pocket when they're doing that shit, they're going to fucking shoot you. So, he's reaching. Right? Be safe, but you gotta be respectful. Don't be dicks. Like some of these guys are dicks. Don't be dicks to the cops, man. Just the one thing I always tell people: there's no reason to be an asshole to them. They're the bottom rung of the government. The bottom rung. Okay. This is how this is their entry. This is your entrance into this fucked up system. So those guys, they're protected. Don't treat them like shit. All right. Just be nice. Be respectful, but know your rights and stand on it. Oh, my book. I'll tell you guys about my book in a little bit. All right. A careful exploration of the outer surface of a person clothed in an attempt to find weapons is a search under that amendment. Okay. Now, that's the thing. Like, if he sees, like, if I got, like, you know, I don't know, like, some drug paraphernalia, okay, on me, right? By the way, drug paraphernalia is only defined as paraphernalia. The definition everyone uses is only defined in one CFR somewhere, and the rest of it is about like dowries. Isn't that funny? So anyway, careful exploration of the outer surface of a person's clothing in attempt to find weapons is a search under that amendment. So if they see like drug paraphernalia on you, right, like a visible plane, they suspect that that's reasonable suspicion that you committed a crime. Okay, so oh, that looks like drug paraphernalia, right? Now, the whole thing about drugs being illegal, that's a whole other story, right? And by the way, for anybody out there that thinks that guns should be illegal, I implore you to go investigate how that's worked out for making drugs illegal. Okay, and to come up with a solution for drugs, and then we'll talk about the gun stuff. But if you're sitting there saying let's ban all the guns, I say, all right, well, you know that worked really well with drugs. Why not? Right? These people don't think, you know. All right. Anyway, but that would be, I guess, Fourth Amendment, because if it's there and they could see it, where a reasonably prudent officer is warranted in the circumstances of a given case and believing that his safety or that of others is endangered, he may make a reasonable search for weapons of the person believed by him to be armed and dangerous. Now, this is a lot of cops do this. They get out of the car for officer safety. Like, well, what makes you think? What is your reason that makes you think that you're in danger? Like they need like, why do you think you're endangered by me right now? What makes you think that I'm a danger to you? How am I posing a danger? This is why I say don't be rude to these people. This is Terry V. Ohio being read. All right. If you go to my YouTube channel, you can watch, I pulled up the case on YouTube. Or if you have really good vision, you can see it through my glasses, and then you just got to read it backwards because it's mirror image. Actually, no, it'd be normal because this is backwards, right? Yeah. Committed impeachment in court, and they still convicted me. Yeah, yeah, no, that's just rude. They suck, man. They suck because they don't care. It's like, hey, this doesn't. If you win, this is going to hurt the state, so you lose. Right? That's the psychotic part of it, is that it has to work in the favor of the state and against you. Okay? Only when like convicting you is going to hurt the state do they let people win. When it's going to hurt the state to have you win, or when it's going to hurt the state, no. If you lose, sorry, I'll say that again. If the state is going to be damaged by making you lose, it will let you win. Okay, that's the only time you really win. That's why it's like a 98% conviction rate. 98%. You think the cops are that good at their job? That they always get the criminal? I don't think so. I think it's well, this is 19. Oh yeah, well he's probably gone now, right? Oh, he's on. Yeah, let him talk. Let that little bitch talk. I don't care. This is 1968. None of those people that were on the Supreme Court then is in the Supreme Court today. So, but this is one of the cases that should be repealed. All right, this should get overturned. I mean, anyway, all right. And this is regardless of whether he has probable cause to arrest the individual for crime or absolute certainty that the individual is armed. Article 1, Section of the judge is the same, protect the state. Well, right now, in your state courts, the municipal courts run under administrative procedures, right? So they're administrative courts, okay? So they're not Article 3 courts, uh, technically. All right, they're like more like Article 1 because they run under the executive, and it's all administrative. But 1938, they mixed all the courts together anyway, so you don't even know what courtroom you're in, right? You have to ask the judge what court you're in, okay? And if and he goes, "You're in the district court." Well, all right. Well, I mean, what kind of courtroom is this? Is this law? Is this a court of equity? Is this a court of law? Is this criminal? Is this civil? What is this? I need to know. All right. Though the police must, whenever practicable, secure a warrant to make a search and seizure, that procedure cannot be followed with swift action based upon on-the-spot observations of the officer on the beat is required. Now, was it required, though, in this scenario? I don't think it really was, because even though they're looking at the place, maybe these guys were looking around and going, "Hey, maybe we could like purchase this store from the owner." I've done that. I've cased an area looking for a spot for my music school, and I was looking over here for a while, and finally, when it opened up, I got it. That's why I'm in this spot right now. Um, yeah, judge administrator. Yeah, they're the administrator. Did he leave? Well, yeah. Did he leave or is he still here? Sobsit Buster, is he still here? You still here, Sobsit
I
Buster?
looked at and it says that he's not watching it anymore
Oh, okay, fine.
because I can go up to that corner and see who's watching.
He's not gonna. No, you know what it is. The thing is, he wants to come in and mock me, but he can't when I'm actually like reading. Like he was on here like making fun of me, and we were talking about property tax and how to get out of property taxes, and we used one of the most sovereign citizen things you could ever do, and we used the state constitution to get property tax exemptions. And I think when he realized that we actually use the constitution to do things, it was like, well, he can't make fun of that because now he's just a traitor, right? That's treason against America, against Americans, against the people. Flat out treason. If I go and use the Constitution and someone says you can't use the Constitution, that's treason, right? And treason is, okay, treason is betrayal after trust. If you entrust somebody with upholding the rules, the laws, right, and the Constitution, and then they go and turn around and say, we don't use that here, that's treason. That is treason. Plain and simple. Okay, so
So
you
Joe,
land patent. We don't need land patents. Every state has property tax exemptions. Land patents, or you're going to fight with these guys forever. All right, we've gotten tons and tons of people to not have to pay property taxes by using the state constitution. It's really simple. There's always exemptions. You can always get the land patent afterwards because you're already unencumbered by the property taxes, and then no one's going to care anymore, right? To get the land patent. But if you're trying to do it while you're still paying property taxes, they're going to give you a hard time. Yeah, what's up?
the difference between the U.S. Supreme Court and the Supreme Court of the United States of America. Everyone needs to understand that there are two. It's not the same entity. Can you elaborate on that?
Well, here, this is the U.S. Supreme Court. Let's go U.S. case law, and we only have U.S. Supreme Court. There's U.S. Supreme Court. I don't know. I've been hearing that. I've never found anything that shows that there's two um, Supreme Courts, right? Supreme Court of the United States and the U.S. Supreme Court. I have
Okay,
not.
because you haven't found it. Okay, because I was under the impression anything under U.S. is District of Columbia, the corporation, versus the other version is the one that is supposed to be de jure instead of de facto. But okay, I'll do some more research.
Well, let's see. Well, this is the Supreme Court of the United States. All right, this is their website. Um, and let's see if we could do like an about thing and About. Well, just keep in mind that I don't know. That could be one of those like patriot mythology things. Like I'm not going to write it off because there might be truth to it, but I haven't. So like here it says Supreme Court of the United States. The other one says U.S. Supreme Court, right? And it could just be a matter of wording, really. Let's look at opinions. Opinions of the court.
Words matter, Joe. Words matter.
I'm not saying they don't. Come on. I just need a case docket search. Come on. Give me a court case. Wait. Let's see. Uh, where's the court? Okay. Miscellaneous order. We're just looking at something. Okay. Certiorari denied. Certiorari denied. Order list. Supreme Court of the United States. All right. So that's what it says here. Oh, well, something's going on with that one. Okay. Anyway, I'm just saying like there's all kinds of what's this? Certiorari denied. Words matter. No, she's right. Oh, I gotta do the puzzle piece. Hold on. Why is it doing that to me? It's gonna kick me out if I don't get it right. But it's doing this weird glitchy thing when I do it. Um, yeah, I don't know. I mean, I gotta see something concrete, otherwise I don't know. I have to see it. That's how I am. You get like the Sovsit Buster and all those other people, the detractors, they come in and say it's all bullshit, and I'm like, I'd be with you, but I've seen too much of it to know that it's not bullshit. Like everything you're saying, that is bullshit, that I'm saying is not. I'm telling you it's not because I see it myself. That's it.
Have the concrete evidence. Yes, I get that. Thank you for humoring me.
Yeah. So, I mean, and I'm not denying it though. I just want to see it. U.S. Supreme Court, Supreme Court of the United States, Supreme Court of the United States. Let's see what it says in the Constitution now. Let's go look in the Constitution. U.S. Constitution. And we're going to go. Let's go Supreme. All right. So the judicial power of the United States, it doesn't name it specifically, should be vested in one Supreme Court and in such inferior courts as the Congress may from time to time ordain and establish. The judges both of the Supreme and inferior courts shall hold their offices during good behavior, and at times they shall receive services compensation which shall not be diminished during their continuance in office. All right. So if they're taxpayers, then they're not Article 3 justices or judges. Okay. A judge who's getting taxed means that his compensation is being diminished, and he's not an Article 3. That would be up here. It doesn't say. I don't know. That's a whole other thing.
It's a rabbit hole. Thank you.
It is. It is. And there may be nothing, in that. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day,
Yeah.
we find like it doesn't even matter. But do remember this, people. Just remember the courts, even though we are operating, like the government operates in this de facto, system. There is de jure elements to it. The court system can be de jure. Like you're going into an administrative court. Okay, those are not de jure; those are de facto. But they can convert to de jure courts at any moment in time, right? Like robbery, murder, all those kinds of like common law crimes. Those are all de jure courts, okay, for the most part. I'm not going to say always. I say for the most part they are. Like foreclosure cases, they could be, but you got to find out. You got to press on them, you know? You got to press on that. Look, let me show you why. This is the problem. All right. Where is it? Yeah, one form of action, the civil action, right? This rule two, one form of action, the civil action. There is one form of action, the civil action, right? Now this is the problem. This is what they did. This is how they got rid of common law, equity, admiralty, and all civil cases all in one swoop. Okay. This rule modifies U.S. Code Title 28, former 384, suits in equity when not sustainable, right? Title 28, 723, and 30, right? C 270, conferring power on the Supreme Court to make rules of practice in equity, meaning that the Supreme Court doesn't make rules on equity anymore. Unaffected insofar as they relate to the rule making power in admiralty, okay, which means they can still rule in admiralty. These sections together with 723B, right? Rules in action at law, Supreme Court authorized to make, right? Which is common law. All right, Supreme Court authorized to make are continued insofar as they're not inconsistent. So they're telling you we still have this. We're trying to squeeze equity out of here because they don't like that fairness. Right? Union of equity and action at law rules, power of the court. See note 3 to Rule 1, U.S. Code, Title 28. Okay, amendments to this. And equitable defenses and equitable relief and actions are superseded. Okay. Now, reference to actions at law or suits in equity in all statutes should now be treated as referring to the civil action prescribed by these rules. So what they've done, they've taken all the common law courts and all the equity courts and turned them into civil actions. So it's still there, but it's all, they put in a blender, okay? And now it's in a blender. So when you do any court case has a common law side to it. It has its statutory side and it has an equity side to it. It has all three. Okay. And then there's an admiralty side to it too, because they stuck that in there as well. All right. So just think about it. You have your four. Statutory, by the way, is administrative. Okay. So those are those administrative courts, right? But if you look, there is no such thing as administrative procedures. Why? Because they stuck it under the civil. Okay. And then they mixed everything together. So when they created this whole administrative stuff, right, under statutory regulations, they called it civil. And now it's all civil. Or sometimes they call it criminal because they want to hide that it's actually civil. So they try to hide it. That your traffic court is civil, pretending to be criminal. Okay, and they're using administrative. They're doing it administratively. I'm telling you, people, you got to look at the state. Like I'll show you the New Jersey one. And like once you see it, you're gonna be like, "Oh shit," right? But you got to read this stuff, and you got to go through your exactly. Thank you. Yeah, they mixed it to confuse the public. That's why you got to unconfuse yourself. You have to separate the ideas out first. Understand each one on its own. Then you can put them back together and understand and see what they're really doing. Okay, that is how you got to do it. It's a pain in the ass. And it takes a lot of effort and a lot of time and a lot of years to really put all that together. All right. Like Ellie's here right now. Hi. And she focuses on equity. And if you guys want to learn more about that, you need to go follow her on TikTok. So go say hi to everyone so they can follow you. All right. Because she shares very valuable, powerful information. Hey. And you guys need to hear what she's sharing out there. Okay. And don't listen to the detractors that tell you to ignore parts of the law, right? We need to know, and we need to be, we just need to have all this information because as you can see here, they've mixed it together. They're trying to erase equity because equity is all about fairness. They don't want to be fair, right? So you got to keep it just like the motor vehicles versus the automobiles, right? They've taken automobiles out of society and converted them into motor vehicles through pieces of paper and through your own considerations, right? They've made you change your mind about what a motor vehicle is versus a car or an automobile, right? That's what they've done. All right. So anyway, the point is this rule follows in substance the usual introductory statements to code practices which provide for single action and motor procedure. with abolishment of forms of action and procedural distinctions. See that? So this rule follows in substance the usual introductory statements to code practices. What are they doing? They're coding. Why are they coding it? Because they're going to use code so they can signal to each other what kind of court they're going to use. So what does this tell you about how your initial paperwork needs to be set up? When you start a court case in any kind of civil action, your introductory statement is the code by which you're going to operate that court case in. Okay? That provides for a single action and mode of procedure. So now that they're all blended together, it's Ellie. She's right above you. She said, our substantive rights are enforced in equity. Equity is private, people. It's private. This is them showing you that they've gone public, and that's why they're bearing equity. Okay? But Ellie right there, she's the one I would recommend following her if you want to learn more about equity. She's you're not going to find anyone better, honestly. All right, she's great. She has, when there's a conflict or variance, law prevails. By the way, after this, I got to give you a call. I'm going to give you a call when I'm done because I have to talk to you about something. All right, Ellie, if you're up for a phone call. But anyway, but you see, it's the mode of procedure. So when you set up your paperwork in the initial, when you start up this court case, if they bring it to you, right, your introductory statement is going to be the code for the practices for that action and the mode of procedure. Okay, and even though they've abolished the forms of action and procedural distinctions, that means they're all going to be uniform. They're all going to be the same, but it's how you're going to utilize the paperwork and what your arguments are going to be is going to dictate what jurisprudence you're going to be operating in. Okay, in that court. And they might go crazy, okay? They may go crazy on this, all right? Representative statutes are New York Code, right? California Code, Minnesota statute, Washington statute. Okay, so they're showing you that some of the states are adopting all this stuff, right? Or have beforehand. So New York did it in 1848. Okay, California did in 1937. Minnesota did 1927. Washington in 1932. Anyway, so that's what they've done. Okay. Are they supposed to be Article 3 mostly operate as statutory courts today? Yes. Well, yeah. We were talking about that. That's where we got into all this. We could get her in here. Yeah. Anyway, but that is what's going on. Okay, with all those civil procedures, everything's been mixed together. Okay, and by that, all these things are going to be the same now. See, these are all the rules you're going to follow, but the Constitution does provide for equity, right? The judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity arising under this Constitution, the laws of the United States and the treaties made, which shall be made under their authority. Okay, so all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction, right, between a state and citizens of another state, between citizens of different states. Okay, and look, they even changed that one. See this? See this 11th Amendment? Basically stopped people from suing the state. You have to ask the state for permission. So you have to go to states like, can I sue you? And then they go, no. But you can go to the next state and sue the other state. You just can't sue your state. But here's the thing. Look what it says here. Look what it says. The judicial powers shall extend to all cases, right, in law and equity arising under this Constitution, the United States, treaties made, being made under their authority. Right? Nope, sorry. This one. It's crap, where is it? I'm in the wrong article. My bad. All right. Let's do the Supreme. Oh, here it is. There, I found it. In all cases affecting ambassadors or other public ministers and consuls, and those in which a state shall be party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. Go check your traffic courts, people. Go check out who's bringing the charges to you. Is it the prosecutor? Is it the city? Is it the county? Or is it the state? Who's bringing those charges on paper? It says the state of versus you, right? Well, who has original jurisdiction over that traffic case? Yeah, yeah. Someone on YouTube just made a good point. Yeah, it says the 11th Amendment also allows you to state that you do not waive that immunity, making it so that you don't accept them suing you either. He's right. That's absolutely correct. Um, yeah, praying for equitable relief. I haven't studied in a year. I need to do better. Monica, don't beat yourself up, okay? Look, it's hard sometimes and people need to take a break, right? I understand that. Taking a break is sometimes it's you need you got to think of your mental health. Okay, so sometimes this stuff gets overwhelming, it's too much, and taking a little break from it is good because what it does is it takes all that information that you've been studying, right, starts to become more real to you, and you can start to, think with that information. And then you go, okay, I've settled off of this for a little while, I could come back, right? And then go back into it again and learn something new. Because you give yourself enough time to really digest that information, take it in. So sometimes it is good to take breaks. I've taken breaks. Yeah, exactly. So you have to take it because sometimes you get too in depth into this, and all of a sudden you get out of touch with reality a little bit because you're so involved in this it's a fiction, the legal fiction. The whole system is legal fiction, and then people think you're crazy. So you got to come back to reality, go live life a little bit, and kind of come off of it, and then all that information it starts to blend into society a little bit more, and you can see a little bit better. And then when you talk about it, you don't sound as crazy. So like people say I'm crazy when I say you have a right to travel. They go, "Oh, dude, no, no, man, no, you can't." I'm like, well, if I don't have a right to travel, how come I can walk down the street? They go, "Oh, well, I mean, yeah, you have the right to travel." Yeah, well, when you say it like that, I said, "Okay, do I have a right to own a gun?" They go, "Yes, of course you do." Yeah, I said, "Does that right disappear when I step into my car?" And they go, "Well, no." Yeah, they say on your feet. I say, can you show me the judicial opinion where it said that? Show me in the laws where it says that your right to travel is limited to feet, mode of transportation, right? Where does it say that? That's bullshit. Anyway, but yeah, so all your traffic cases are by the state, and it says in all cases in which a state shall be party, the Supreme Court shall have original jurisdiction. So, what are they telling you? They're telling you right here in the Constitution that whenever you get a traffic ticket and you have to go to court for that, you're supposed to go to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court has its original jurisdiction, right? How come you're not going? How come no one's going to the Supreme Court? But that tells you right there that there's other issues going on, right? There's bigger things going on with these motor vehicle things. Also, it's not the state bringing the charges, okay? The state is not bringing those charges. It's the prosecutor and the city bringing the charges, but they lie on the paperwork initially. So it's wrong party right from the get-go. All right, and say, well, is the state actually bringing charges? Yes. And you go to the prosecutor. You work for the state? And he goes, well, I work for this city. I work for a few of them. Yeah, so I work for the state. Okay. Um, this should be in the Supreme Court then. How come your name's not on the paperwork? I see it says state of, right, versus me, or that name, right? Maybe I shouldn't say me, but that name, the name. And I see all that paperwork, but I'm trying to figure this out. How come you're not listed on there as representing the state? Huh? Aren't you supposed to show that? Oh, no, we don't have to do that. Yeah, that sounds like you don't have to do anything that you're supposed to do because no one's going to penalize you for it. That's why we have to have our own courts. okay, that are created under this Constitution. Okay, anyway, disorderly conduct. Attorney approaches me. She works for the city and for the best interest of the state. Let's say, okay, let's use the state. I love this. So we get into the best interest of the state. Like, actually, is it the best interest of the state or of the people? Because according to the state constitution, it says that that this government was created for the benefit of the people. So why is it now you're converting this into over to what's the best? What's better for the state? This is
Where's her
backwards.
DBA? Where's her DBA
Yeah,
to represent the state?
exactly. Well, they don't have it. That's why when you bring up stuff like that, they get upset, right? The state is the people. That's right. The state is the people. So because the state are the people, right? These are just people that represent. These are just people that represent the people. And when the state says, "Well, this is better for the state," they say, "Well, show me how this is beneficial to me. Show me how that's um, yeah, the people have equitable sovereignty, which is a superior." Yeah, King's right. Yeah. They have legal sovereignty, we have equitable sovereignty, but they flipped that whole thing because they get equitable right to everything. That's why you got to pay them money, right? Because they converted it. They've done a conversion of everything because people don't understand what's going on. And the public school system has done a great job of keeping people not learning about civics, which is what we're doing here. Okay, not learning about history, all right, which is what we're also doing here. Okay, and they're
Debate?
teaching them
Have they done
about
away with debate teams? Have they
what?
done away with the debate teams where they? I was hearing that they had done away with the debate teams at high schools where the students weren't able to think cognitively on their feet like in a debate team.
I mean, I don't think those are gone, but um, yeah, I know Brandon. We were roommates like 15 years ago, so I know Brandon. You're asking if I watch him, but yeah, we used to be roommates. Took up an eighth grade equivalency test from the 30s, but I don't think those debate teams are gone. I think they're still around, but they don't debate like any real stuff. They debate stupid crap. Like, look at all these arguments that they make online. Like right now, the fucking internet is up in arms over a fucking blonde girl and a jean ad, an ad for fucking jeans. Like this is, I mean, it's just one thing is that I mean, this is comical. It's freaking hilarious because one thing it just shows the level of insecurity some people have, right, with themselves, and they go around bashing other people because, well, maybe she's pretty, okay, fine, but that doesn't mean that you're not, right? You know, or maybe you're not, and you're just jealous, right? So it's a whole factor of that stuff. It's just, but also they're using it to distract people from what's really going on, right? It's a big distraction. It's hilarious though. I think it's hilarious because every time someone goes, "Oh well," blah blah blah, and talking about those ads, I'm like, the only reason why you care is because it's you taking it personal because you've been brainwashed into thinking that this is something that actually matters. Okay, it does not matter. It has no relevance in your life or in society at all. But they've taken it out of proportion in order to distract things from, yeah, it's one big control grid. Yeah, they're using it as a distraction point for something else that they're trying to do. So when they're doing stuff like that and they're crying racism or something like that or bigotry or whatever, go look at what's really going on. Go take a look at what Congress is doing. Go look at what kind of deals they're making internationally, okay, because they're doing something whack. Go look at what your state legislation is trying to do, okay, because and then look at what elections are coming up. I don't think there's any election coming up, right? No, no. But it's just it's all bullshit. Like who cares? Uh, I don't I don't get mad when there's like a black dude in an ad. I don't care, right? Fuck, why would I care? Shit, the guy could be my neighbor. I wouldn't, I'd be like, hey, I saw you on TV, man. Oh my god, I didn't know you were famous. Like who cares? Like, why is this a big deal? Anyway, but it just tells you that the brainwashing is real and it works because when people start thinking like that, it's just telling you that they're not focused on, they have no accomplishments in life, okay? And these people feel like you should be handing them success on a silver platter instead of working hard for it, okay? and they've been taught to think that way. This is not natural, right? Anyone who's raised kids knows that children naturally want to do right when they're very young. They want to help, they want to contribute. They're always trying to help, like, I'm going to help you clean, I'm going to help you do that, I'm going to help. They want to help, they want to contribute, they want to set goals and achieve them. And then somewhere along the line, like maybe junior high school or high school, they start flipping the script on them, saying, there's only certain people out there that can be successful because everything's built against you. Everything's built against you, and you have to think that you're a loser, and you're always going to be a loser because no one's going to treat you fair. Who the hell is out there like stopping people based off of all these things? It's all crap. So I took a step back from granted there are nuggets. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to actually, by the way, just so everyone knows, I'm going to pause this for a second. So I know there were some statements that happened recently regarding equity, okay, and stuff, and I am going to be doing, and I'm going to be doing a free class talking about equity, okay, and I'm going to have a very special guest on there, okay, who I talked with and agreed that they would come on and also join in on the class a little bit and talk a little bit on there. And that would be Chris Hauser is going to come and join on that class. Um, so that's going to happen. We're going to be doing that. So, but it's a free class. Everyone's invited. Please sign up. I think we're going to get, I don't know, we'll get a link out somewhere or something, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know when that is. But I talked to him last night about that, and he agreed to come on and show up for the class. And we're just going to work out a schedule for it, a date, and then we'll let everybody know. Okay. And what we're going to do is we're going to talk about the legitimacy of this stuff. Like, is equity legitimate or not? Is this a real thing or whatever? I think you guys know the answer already. Okay. Yeah, that'd be great, Monica. PM me, and then I'll see what we can do. Okay. So just private message me on here. Just this is my only, if you're on TikTok and watching the account we're on right now is my only account. Do not message any other Joe accounts because they're not me. It's all scammers. They're going to turn around and be like, oh, did you go open up your digital wallet yet? Get your digital wallet. I ain't doing digital wallets. Plain simple. I don't do it. I think I've said this in every live video in the last 2 years. I don't do any digital currency. I don't do it. If you do it, that's fine. I don't care. But I'm not going to do it because it opens up the door to scammers. So even if I wanted to, which I'm not interested in the first place, I wouldn't do it just because it's opening up the door to let scammers scam more people. So I just tell you flat out, we're not doing it. I don't do the crypto. I will never be doing crypto. And personally, one of the reasons why I won't do it is because NSA has probably already got all kinds of, they probably got 50 different contingency plans for cryptocurrency and any kind of digital currency in the future. All right. At least 50 by now, because back in 2012, when I was looking at crypto, I was getting involved in it, and I said, you know what? NSA probably already got their hands on this. And I thought that back in 2012. So imagine how far they've gone in 13 years. But like I said, that's a personal decision. I'm not going to tell you what to do with that. If you want to do crypto, that's fine. I'm not going to judge you. I really won't. I don't care. It's a free country. Do whatever you want. It's a free country. I think everyone forgot that. It's still a free country. Yeah, I was really excited about that, and I can't wait. That's going to be a great day. We're going to have a great time. And good afternoon. Good afternoon. Look, boom, right there. PA, I'm a neighbor. I don't feel very free. I understand. Well, that's why we're doing all this stuff, We're doing this stuff because we should have our freedom. And there are things you can do to reclaim your freedom and have the state respect your rights. It's really the state more than the federal government. I think people fail to realize that. It's the state more so than the federal government. Okay, you're not too far away either, Virginia. Okay. But the state is really the ones, because who are you dealing with? When you get into a car and go down the road, is it the federal government that's going to pull you over? No, it's a city. It's a city or a state, cop that's going to stop you. Okay. Meta centers? What are meta centers? Meta centers. Wait, can you unmute and explain that? Because I don't know what you mean by that. Meta centers.
They have meta centers. They're data collecting centers that are being built all over the place.
What
In
is
fact,
that?
they got one starting uh, very soon in Monroe, Louisiana.
My
Oh,
work added it to our payroll system and to our what is it? Our equipment at work. Just saying.
oh, geez.
Our data that they're collecting off of our smart meters and our smart appliances and our smartphones, that's the
Mhm.
new gold. They're selling our data at these meta centers.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it's just great. Well, just so everyone knows, okay, there's a thing called a fusion center, okay, and the fusion center actually feeds all this data. In fact, let me pull it up. Fusion centers. So this has been going on a long time, okay. I'm going to show you what the fusion centers are, okay. Now this is a really interesting little thing here. The fusion centers, okay. Now this is Homeland Security's website, so don't be like, oh, there's some sovereign citizen crap. No, this is right out of, yeah, Meta, Facebook data mining. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. They're locking down on the human race. That's what they're doing. Fusion centers are state-owned and operated centers that serve as focal points in states and major urban areas for the receipt, analysis, gathering, and sharing of threat-related information between state, local, tribal, and territorial, federal, and private sector partners. Okay? So these fusion centers, they gather information, intel on people, and they feed it up to the federal government. Okay? So what should you be doing with this information right here? You should be letting the fusion center know that you're not a threat. That's pretty simple. Okay? And as long as you can do that, I think they're going to leave you alone. Okay? Which, by the way, if you're in the trust community, you know what I'm talking about. But outside the trust community, I don't think anyone knows. Which is why the trust community exists, is because we do have private information in there that has to remain private for the sake of getting people through the system. So the only way out of the system is to go through it. Okay? And like go talk to some people who've done it. Go talk to people who've done it, and they'll tell you, you got to go into court, you got to stand on your rights, you got to go through the fire. Okay? Because the only way you turn iron into steel is by putting it in fire. Okay? And steel is much stronger than iron. So yeah, like going through court and stuff like that. Because remember, the courts start off de facto, but you can pull them into de jure. And if you convert your court case into a de jure court case, right, or de jure court, you can walk out free. Okay, and that's the truth of the matter. So every de jure piece of the state and federal government has a back door for you to get out. Okay, Minnesota has this assumed name certificate. Okay, I think, what was it? I was just thinking of another one the other day. But every state has something, right? Every state has a key, a gateway to go through. But all 50 states have courts, and all courts have a de facto and has a de jure side. And probably the most dangerous way, but seemingly to be the most effective, is to go through that way, is to go in through the court system and out the court system. Because if you can do it the right way, if you can prove in a court that the fiction of law is harming you, okay, then the fiction, by the principle of legal fiction and fiction of law, that doctrine says that a fiction of law cannot harm another. So if you can prove that that fiction of law is harming you, they're going to let you walk. And that's your freedom right there. Okay? That is everything you need to know to get out of the voluntary servitude condition, is to prove the fiction of law is harming you. Okay? That's how you do it. But the fusion centers are part of this, right? This is what they do here. They're state-owned and operated centers. They're focal points in states. So you see what they're doing? It's like, this is like a, think of it like a covert ops operation, right? This is covert ops here, right? What they do is they implant like these federal agents into the state, and then they go and investigate everyone. They use the DMV system to do it, and then they give this over to the FBI and Homeland Security and all that stuff, right? And this goes into the NCIC database, NCIC National Crime Database. Anyway, it says the national network of fusion centers being critical content and value to Homeland Security and law enforcement that no other federal local organization can replicate. Fusion centers accomplish this through sharing information, providing partners with a unique perspective on threats to their state or locality, and being the primary contact between frontline personnel, state and local leadership, and the rest of Homeland Security enterprises. All right. All right. Well, I'm going to be ending off in about 10 minutes because I have some things to do. But you see what's happening here, what these things are. So like certain people do paperwork and they do things in court. And then what happens is the fusion centers put them down as terrorists, sovereign citizen, terrorist, right? And here's the problem. The term sovereign citizen was never a bad term until they turned it into a bad term, right? So that, like his sovereignty, what is sovereignty? Sovereignty is being beholden to no other, the king, queen, right? And what was a citizen? A citizen was one that belonged to a community, right? Now you can belong to a community, right? Our community, right, stands under the Constitution. We support that. We like those documents. Those are good things, right? If you're not in support of the Constitution, right, then you don't have a reason to be here. You can go somewhere else, right? So, but that's it, right? But they've converted citizen to a bad term, right? Oh, it's someone who submitted themselves to the dominion of a government. That's a slave, right? Yeah, right. Well, I mean, it's kind of everyone's considered a domestic terrorist. 9/11 did destroy that, whole thing. But then they used the term sovereign citizen after that to label people domestic terrorists. And who are these so-called domestic terrorists? These people who want to drive with their own plates on their car? That's terrorizing people? I've never seen someone look at a plate and start screaming in terror. Oh my God! Imagine that. His plates terrorized me. It terrorizes the cops for some reason. It's really funny. Right? They get terrified of that stuff. They like, stop this guy, he's a terrorist. Right? But remember what happens when people put in like stupid paperwork into the courts and they start labeling someone a sovereign citizen in the courtroom, you need to rebut it, because otherwise they're going to go contact the fusion center and give them that information, and you're going to be put into the system as a domestic terrorist. This is why you have to rebut those presumptions. Anyone telling you to use that label, sovereign citizen, does not understand the fusion centers and what they're doing and the labels that they have for people and the flags that they put into their system. So you do not listen to anybody that tells you to use that name and be proud of it, because that is an agent. They're against you and they're trying to cause harm. Okay, so never ever let that slide. Not once, ever. Anytime someone brings that, if you're going into court and you put something in and then the prosecutor writes back, oh, you're a sovereign citizen, you need to rebut that argument. Okay, I've given plenty of different ways to rebut that argument. Okay, the civil procedures also has a rebuttal for that, and also you can call him out on the merits of like, why is he saying this term? Does he have any evidence of that? I need to see evidence of that. Otherwise, he's trying to soil the or try to dirty up the paperwork and make me look bad. And this thing needs to be argued on the merits of the case and not on like a belief system, right? Because this is not a religious court, unless it is, because only religious courts operate off of beliefs, right? The National Network of Fusion Centers is the hub of much of the two-way intelligence and information flow between the federal government and our state, local, tribal, and territorial and private sectors partners. The fusion centers represent a shared commitment between the federal government and the state and local governments who own and operate them. Individually, each is a vital resource for integrating information from national and local sources to prevent and respond to all threats and hazards. The enhanced collaboration between the federal government, the SLTT is state, local, tribal, and territorial, and private sector's partners represent the new standard through which we view homeland security. Diffusion centers. Yeah, exactly. So there's a big difference, so don't ever let them do that. And anyone telling you, oh yeah, we're gonna take back the term sovereign citizen, I really don't care. I don't care about that term. They can have it. Okay, they can have that term. We can always come up with a new one. Doesn't matter. Okay. The thing is this though, when they have these systems set up like this, like these fusion centers, you have to realize that that's going to be in their computer system. So you need to make sure that you don't do that or do things that way. You have to rebut those presumptions or make a good argument for it. It's capital C citizen, creator of the boundless universe. That's a cool name. Creator of the boundless universe. All right, it's capital C citizen. It's proper noun. Okay. Citizen, lowercase c, citizen is a 14th Amendment citizen. And go check your Constitution. The Constitution tells you they always use the word citizen, uppercase C, up until the 14th Amendment. That's the first time it appears with a lower c, is in the 14th Amendment. That tells you right there it's not a proper noun. Meaning that it doesn't have the authority anymore. It's not sovereign. Although we don't like that. Yeah. If you don't believe me, though, go look at the Constitution. I mean, I've shown it before, but go look at it and look up the word citizen, and you're going to find it's always capital C all the way to the 14th Amendment. Once you do the 14th Amendment, it's a lowercase c. People. The Constitution doesn't matter to anyone in government, dude. Where have you been? Don't matter to the president. Don't matter to fucking Congress either. Right? The only one that seems to care about the Constitution seems to be the Supreme Court. Okay? Any government agency I've ever seen, the modern Supreme Court seems to be the only ones that really have any focus on the Constitution. Right? So don't bring up like the president or anything. It's all of them. All of them. And don't try to do this Democrat Republican shit with me, because I'll kick you off my thing, because Democrats and Republicans are all in cahoots. They're trying to create a division in the country. Don't play that stupid Democrat Republican game, because you're going to lose. All right? I don't play that game. The entire political party thing is a farce, and it was used to create division in the country. George Washington warned about it from early on. He said it's a bad idea, don't do it. And then now they're doing it. And what do you have? You have all these people arguing stupid crap, right? That really doesn't matter at all. Most of the arguments that Democrats and Republicans make are stupid arguments that don't actually do anything for anybody. Okay, they sit there and argue about skin color, and they argue about fucking ads, and they talk about they argue about college tuition and stuff like that. It's like, get the fuck out of here. First of all, if you're going to go to college, you're going to pay for it. You're going to pay for it. Now, what's the real problem with college tuition? College tuition's already been paid. It's been paid off already, because there is no money. There hasn't been money since 1933, when they got rid of the gold and gold clauses in all contracts. So there is no money, right? It's already been paid. It's been paid through from the promissory notes, the applications, and the selling of your information, the mining of your data through all the information you handed over to them, and your signature to allow them to do that, and getting power of attorney over that. Okay, it's all been like that for a long time. So what college tuition are you talking about? It's already been paid. The whole thing's been paid, right? So it's all BS, right? I got loans. Well, no, there are no loans. Who loaned you money? What money was loaned to you? They can't ever prove it, right? So that argument is invalid, right? The argument about race is stupid, because Title 42 says that all the citizens of the United States. I'm just going to show you, because you know why? Because if I say it on TikTok, they're gonna kick me off. So I'm just going to show you. Let's do that. Okay. All right. Oh, yeah, let's go. Let's do this. Nope. Let's go. Yeah, here. Well, here's a good one. All citizens in the United States, there's your 14th Amendment citizen, shall have the same right in every state and territory as enjoyed by white citizens thereof to inherit, purchase, lease, sell, hold, and convey real and personal property. Well, what does that tell you? Who is a citizen of the United States? Okay. So, yeah, they argue the wrong points. Why don't we look at this 14th Amendment and look at how the 14th Amendment was used to enslave the people through contracts, okay? Rather than over here arguing about who can be successful, okay? Anyone can be successful. They don't teach you how to be successful in school. The whole purpose of school is to teach you how to be compliant and follow the rules and be compliant, be compliant, be compliant. Stay in your lane, stay in your lane, be compliant, do what you're told, do what you're told. Oh, the bell rung, you go there. Oh, the bell rung, you go there. Now you sit here. You don't move. Don't do this. Don't do that. Stop asking questions, right? That's what public school system is training people to work in factories and office buildings and to not become successful. The people who become successful typically reject modern public school systems. Okay. Look at these people, these self-made millionaires, okay, and look at what they've done. Okay. These guys rejected modern education in some way, shape, or form. Right? Like there's lots of guys, you see these guys, oh, I made $1 million doing this, I did that. And oh, what'd you do in college? Well, everything I studied in college didn't mean shit because I never used any of that. What about high school? No. I don't remember what I studied in high school. Well, I do, but yeah, right? AI and robots replacing men and women. They'll never do it though. But you see, that's the point, right? They argued the wrong stuff. And this Democrat Republican argument, it just goes in a big circle and never gets anywhere. And really what we need to do is get rid of Terry v. Ohio. We need to get rid of the 14th Amendment, and we need to get rid of Pennsylvania versus Mims. Okay? And that's going to make our country way better. It's going to fix a lot of things. Then what we got to do is after those things are gone, then what we need to do is start standing on, that's when we really need to start standing on our right to travel and start and take away the power of the state to convert our private automobiles into public property, because that's what they're doing with the cars. They take the cars, they label them motor vehicles, and now it's public property because it's on a public registry. Okay. And that's what they've done. They've taken away our private property, converted it into public property, and now it's for public use, and now you have to pay for it. That's why you have to pay for registration every year, because you don't own the car. It's not yours. It belongs to the state, and you're renting it to them. Okay, they're renting it to you, so you have to pay them. Okay, it's a motor vehicle, meaning that's in a commercial capacity, and because it's in the commercial capacity, right, you have to pay taxes. Okay. Yeah, Ped bringing corruption, using their trauma as tools and corrupt their, yeah, exactly. Yeah, they're sick, man. They're sick. Yeah, this is why I don't pay taxes. You think I want to? I think what Hambone's on here right now, and he's going to over here start crying about how you have to pay taxes and stuff like that. I'm like, do you want to contribute to those people, the Peds, minor attracted people? What do they call them? MAPs. Yeah, he supports those people. The MAPs. That's what they call it, right? Minor attracted persons. So you don't have to contribute to that. And now I would turn to them and say, well, how do they pay for all that stuff in China when there's no property taxes over there? And that's a fucking communist country. That's communism over there, and these guys worked out. How come we can't have that worked out here? See? People are brainwashed to think that you have to give the state money in order for the state to operate. This is how stupid people are. They can't think outside of these things. And this is what public school system has done. It's limited people on solutions and coming up with bright ideas for new solutions that make things better. Yeah, learn private trust. That's what I do. I have a whole private trust community. Okay. In fact, who wants to say hello from the trust community? Because they're on here with me right now. Nobody. They're being shy.
Hey, Joe, it's Robert.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm just gonna say hello. And yeah, I just want to tell you and anybody listening, man, thank you so much for everything that you do and helping me get all my stuff prepared and getting me to where I am. And just by doing, from everything that you've helped me get to, like through my own research. I mean, it's like one thing that people don't understand is like you don't give them everything. You know what I mean? It's like it's up to us to get those nuggets, understand it, learn from that, research on our own. And so just by like in that case that I'm working on now, I just happen to go through more of what, civil procedures are, and my judge has his own procedures. So now I'm putting together, yeah, right. So now I'm putting together, he wants a binder, and I got to put a binder together of all my stuff and
Wait,
get that delivered to him.
did you ask him for a binder of his procedures first? So I need to see your procedures in writing so I can follow them, Your
Well,
Honor.
he has them on his own little website. So that's how I got them. Because I was looking, I'm like, well, because I just filed, remember we did the notice of presumption the other day. So I filed that, and then I seen that it's documented in, and I was like, because I've got the Microsoft meetings coming up in 2 weeks, and I'm like, well, is there anything I need to be prepared for? So I don't even know what it was, but I just happened to look at the judge's procedures, and he's got a whole website of 7 pages of his procedures of how he likes things done. So I just started building that today, luckily, you know what I mean? But so Tuesday morning, I'm just gonna hand deliver it right to him.
Either that, or you could build your own website and say these are your God laws.
Yeah, I guess so. I, at this point right now, I'm so new and learning court procedures that I'm just trying to before I feel like I'm standing up a lot against this other opposing attorney and the things that I've submitted. So as I build my confidence, I'm sure I'll do more of that. But right now, I just want to try to make sure that uh,
Reserve all your
he's.
rights. Reserve
Oh,
all your
absolutely.
rights.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
first page, and on the bottom of every page, you say, I'm reserving my rights. I'm not in compliance with what you are saying. I am only expressing my rules too.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, I'm not really giving him any rules. I mean, I'm just for him to look at anything, he wants it ahead of time, like 2 weeks ahead of the teams meeting, because
Yeah,
it says
you
right
need to
on
state
there that
some
he doesn't.
policies in there, Robert. You need to state some of your policies and some of
Okay.
your understanding of what the policies should be for your trust. I yield.
Okay. All right. Well,
Yeah.
I'll definitely look at that.
Right, well, that's an interesting thing. I got my own procedures. Yeah, interesting. Interesting. Under what authority are you able to create your own procedures? I would
Yeah.
ask him that. I'd ask him. I said, where did these procedures come from? You know, like what authority do you derive the ability to create your own procedures? This is a private court. This must be a private court. Is this a private
It is
court?
a private court. It's a private administrative court, and they don't want you to come in and decorate their house with your shit.
Well,
Just
yes, I
like
know,
you're
but that's my
saying, this is
point.
my house. This is my house. This is my truck. You don't get to decorate your rules on my shit. I'm God of my domain, and you're God of your domain. Stay in your own lane.
But that's exactly my point. It's a private court, and they're over here creating their own private rules in their private court. And you go, well, I don't want to be in a private court. I want a public trial. That is my right. I have a right to a public trial. Is this informal or formal court? What is this? You know, it's just crazy. It's psychotic, right? Imagine. Oh, we make our
Yeah.
own rules in this courtroom. So out of all the fucking cities and counties and states in this country, you have unique rules to how your court operates, exclusive of all other courts.
Maybe that's not exactly it. So like I'm looking through it now, and it's revised August 16th of this year, but it's for
Sounds like, well,
Judge
maybe we'll
Polk.
take a look at it and see what it says, but it sounds like BS to me.
All right, hold on, then. Let's
Yeah,
see.
yeah, find out if he's bonded and stuff too.
Should I share it? or what?
Wait, no, I got to go. I'm
Oh,
past
gotcha,
my
gotcha.
time.
Okay.
I got to get out of here. But thanks everyone for hanging out. And we do, by the way, the people talking here are part of the trust community. All right. And if you guys are, if you guys are interested, go to my Linktree link and, sign up for the trust community. It would be great to have it. This is a family, and this is where we share information that we can't talk about on TikTok, because TikTok doesn't like free speech, and YouTube also doesn't like it. So, although YouTube is way more lenient than TikTok, I'll give them that. But still, the same. That's why all the real information's on Rumble, and all the really deep information is within the trust community only. All right, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging out with me.